Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toys Escapades channel in Malaysia. On the channel today, I'm taking a look at one of the vintage Masters of the Universe storybooks published by Golden Books back in the 1980s. This is The Mask of Evil. By the way, guys, it is fully thunderstorming right now while I'm doing this recording. Can you hear it in the back? The sound of thunder and rain. So much rain. When I was a kid living in the southern part of Malaysia, I was pretty fortunate to have one of the largest malls in the country located within something like walking distance of where I was staying. And this was one of those real malls from the 1980s. It had everything a mall in the 80s would have: fast food joints, toy stores. Back then, you could even find 80s toys at the pharmacy. Yeah, you walk in for medication and toothpaste, and there would be like Transformers toys there too. Now, one of the places that always fascinated me was this really large bookstore they had there in the mall, and that's where I would get most of my earliest comic books. And they had a shelf there with all of these Motu books from Golden. I was always fascinated by these books, always remembered the titles of the books, and this is one of the books, okay, The Mask of Evil. This is one of the books that I never came across. I saw the cover on the back of the book, and I would remember it, but it was just something that was never available on the shelf. I never saw it in person. But some years back, though, I did manage to get it online, from eBay. I got a copy of it. And the thing about these golden books is that the covers would always be awesomely jaw-dropping works of art, okay? Because they would get sometimes people like Earl Norham here to do the painted pieces. But then, when you go into the actual book itself, you realize that the interior art can be pretty bad, all right? I mean, in some panels, it can even get downright weird. The book itself was published in 1984, almost 4 decades ago now. The art in the opening pages is actually pretty clean and straightforward. Nothing looks out of proportion or out of the ordinary. Now, the royal palace is hosting a visitor and a friend, Lady Irina. For some strange reason, Orko is spying on her in the chambers as she's seen to be strangely fixated with a dagger of sorts. Later, everyone is gathered for a royal banquet to celebrate the occasion. Nothing appears out of place except for Man-at-Arms, who seems like he's on a hunger strike, and this gentleman serving the wine who looks as though he has three chins, and who also seems to not only be serving the wine but apparently has also been enjoying quite a lot of it in his spare time too. Yeah, look at that. Now, Orko messes up a magic trick, and this angers Lady Irina uncontrollably. She flies into a strange and shocking fit of rage, which, according to everyone else, is very unlike her. Adam concludes that all this is very suspicious and wastes no time in transforming into He-Man in order to solve this mystery. Because when a woman flies into a fit of rage, you can't just ignore it. You need the power of all Grayskull to investigate it. Now check out how disinterested Cringer seems to be while all this is going on. He-Man then transforms Cringer too, but Battlecat is seen here appearing to have a bird's beak of some sort. You see that? Likely, the colorist forgot the sections where his battle helmet was supposed to be. Now, later, after consulting with the sorceress, He-Man learns that Merman actually has the true Lady Irina prisoner and has sent a shape-shifting doppelganger to infiltrate the royal palace instead. He-Man then charges into the doppelganger's chambers to confront her. He's riding on Battlecat. However, in this scene, he is drawn to look somewhat too huge, I think, and Battlecat seems like he's a tiny rocking horse. Like the one that was actually released by Mattel in the 1980s. That one. Okay, He-Man simply looks too big for this small bicycle tiger. All right, look at this picture here. But then, just then, he's interrupted by a bunch of evil villains who suddenly turn up out of nowhere: Skeletor, Triclops, Trapjaw, and Beastman. Or at least it could be them, because it looks more like a bunch of drunk guys from the tavern cosplaying for Halloween. Alright, Skeletor is seen here as you've never seen him before. Now, how could he leave the house with his skull looking like that? And you want to believe that this is Beastman, all right? But he looks more like one of the guys you see down at the local pub who's had a bit too much to drink. During the confusion, the doppelganger, now in her hideous true form, makes a swift getaway. The battle itself doesn't last too long. I mean, when have the evil villains ever been a match for the masters? Now, you think that we'll be getting an action figure version of Skeletor with this particular head sculpt? I mean, since we're going into the cartoon collection figures now, will we eventually also get the storybook collection too? The masters then converge on the swamp where Merman is holding the real Lady Arena hostage. Now we see three vehicles descending on the scene. We get the Wind Raider, Battle Cat, and the Battle Ram. The proportions of the Battle Ram though are completely off in this picture. I mean, next to Battle Cat, this thing looks like a micro machine. You know, what is it supposed to be? Okay. Naturally, the hero saved the day. Lady Arena gets saved. That slimeball merman gets trashed, and all is well. The book ends as it begins, with a royal banquet. But just when you think it's safe to close the pages, you are presented with this image of Prince Adam. The young Prince Adam, might I add, except that here, he looks like a farmer in his 50s, okay, who's been plowing the fields for like the last 30 years or something. Yeah, this right here, guys, is Old Man Adam. Now, the Mask of Evil, okay, these classic storybooks did have some hilariously weird and uneven moments of artwork, but when all is said and done, they are still, of course, awesomely nostalgic. Guys, that's the video. As always, if you wish to support the channel, there's links in the description for either YouTube memberships or my Patreon page, and I appreciate you guys a lot for helping me to continue bringing you content like this on the channel. Thank you, and take care out there.